Welcome to Reset Race, where we talk about race in the United States and we talk about how the left gets it wrong all the time. Well, not all the time, but we'll talk about that later. All right, my name is Michael Graham from Active Five Press. You can catch me at Race Reset at Race Reset on Twitter, and you can find my writing on Active Five Press and some of my older active5press.com and some of my older stuff on progressivearmy.com. So, in the show, we're gonna go at some folks and try to get them straight on race, and that's what we do. So, I'm gonna let my illustrious panel members talk to y'all and give you their stats and their names, and here we go. All right, Sam, ladies first.
All right. So I am Samantha Angelique, channeling Papa Legba Harder on Twitter, which is at me 17 trillion. I am just here to have a good time. Like tonight is actually one of these topics that I think us Black folks enjoy, since y'all been trying to throw us in this WEPOC group. And I'm really gonna contribute to call it white immigrants, people of color, because in my experience on Twitter, for the most part, I don't really have a lot of Native Americans coming at me sideways. Like I can probably name on one hand anytime I've seen anything of disrespect come from them. We can deal with our family business behind the scenes, because they kicked a lot of our families out their tribes and stuff, but we can deal with that later. But as for what I see so I'm not going to include them in WEPOC. So WEPOC is white immigrants, people of color. So y'all have been trying to force us into this coalition that does not exist, based on skin color, not lineage, not class, not interest, just color. So I'm looking forward to this. And speaking of that, when it comes to Saager, does anybody know what caste Saager is? Because I said this on Twitter. From now on, when you as an Indian and as an Asian Indian speak to me, I need you to identify yourself by class. So in hashtag ADOS, they have a thing called who you, right? So we already know that some Nigerians are slave traders. So we like to ask who you. So Saager, are your people Brahmins? We need to know who you, because if you come from the top caste in that country, which rules everything and looks down and oppresses poor other brown people, and the Black people in your country are untouchables. We are the lowest of caste. So why would that be any different for you now? Like, you grew up as an American in Texas with your parents. If they are Brahmins, that is instilled in you. Plus you add the Texas American racism. I'm not saying that all people from Texas are racist, because they are not, but I have questions. That's all I have to say. So if anybody knows what caste Saager is, please let us know, because I've been trying to find out. So somebody drop that for us so we can deal with him accordingly. Sorry, I know that's a long intro. Forgive me, y'all.
No problem. So I wrote about this on Active Five Press. It's part of another article. Some of the intricacies of caste and class and nationality and all kinds of stuff. The article, you can find the article at active5press.com/native. That's again active5press.com/native. Just because people came here facing forward on the vehicle that brought them here, and not on the bottom of a ship, it doesn't mean they come here with good things in mind and only here to help us, right? Because very rarely, let's be honest, very rarely do these folks come over here and help us. A lot of them come here and join Team White Supremacy and leave these Negroes outside, which is us, the American Descendants of Slavery. So it's time for the left and the whole country, in fact, to have a more detailed view of caste, class, nationality, and ethnicity. So and a good primer would be my article on active5press.com. All right, next up is Mud. Come on, Mud, talk to us.
Yeah, they call me Mud. You can find me on Twitter at of Lineage. You can also find my YouTube channel, Bitter Dose TV. There I'm breaking down lefty arguments.
Yeah, he's downplaying it. Everybody go subscribe to Bitter Dose TV, damn it. All right. On YouTube. Bitter Dose TV, all one word. Don't let that man downplay you shit. Go listen to his videos. Be like, damn, he downplayed the hell out of that shit. All right. John, talk to us, brother.
Yeah, like you said, if I introduce myself, but you're right, go make sure you check out that Bit of Those TV. Absolutely. Make sure you go to activepress.com. Or you check out MG. Make sure you go to We Will Not Suffer in Silence.com. You know what I mean? But like real shit, like definitely check out my boy Bud, man. My cousin Mud is a beast, man. He been doing this he been breaking down the lefty arguments and that inspired me to really go. Like I've been wanting to grill him, but I ain't know I had the capacity to grill him until MG said, "Yo, you know you could go, you know we could grill him, right?" I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, you can grill these niggas." I said, "What?" So now I'm here. So you know what I mean, John C. My Twitter is at John Daniel OC. If you want to, I don't give a fuck. Like I'm with my family. You about to have another good ass talk. About to go cook some lefties. You know what I'm saying? About to go. You know what I mean? About to go do what we do. That's what we usually do. So we gotta go do this shit. For real. ADOS too. Reparations all day.
All day. Appreciate that, John. All right. So today we're going to talk. Well, you guys probably been here for a while, so we're gonna talk about the show. We're gonna talk about The Rising with Krystal and Saager and Enjeti. So you know, but it's from the Hill, so you guys can look it up, and we'll deal with that later. All right. So the name of this video is "Shock Poll Shows Biden Winning Less Than Half of Latino Votes." And we're going to talk to you why that's not a surprise. It's not really a shock poll if you have any understanding of race and ethnicity and nationality. Okay.
It's a shock poll for Democrats who don't know any poor Black, brown, ethnic groups except for their maid or their curated Negro or Latino that they allow around them, who are not allowed to speak against them, or else they'll never get a phone call again. Yes,
those people.
Oh damn, am I starting off this way? Y'all gotta forgive me tonight, yo.
Early.
Well, I'll try not to go too bad, so we don't have to scrap this one.
Sam,
or
go.
So this
everybody go in. Sam, sis, go in.
Or so this doesn't end up filed in the Negro meeting. For those of y'all who don't know what the Negro meeting is, we got a whole bunch of behind the scenes footage that at some point we're gonna put on a Patreon or something, because there's some shit that is too raw. Y'all gotta pay for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not gonna lie.
You can listen to us cut up, and of course, I won't be involved in any of that cutting up. This is
MG, don't do that.
MG is the civilized one.
I'm the civilized one.
I'm a savage.
He's a monster. I ain't gonna real shit. Like they hate me. All right, never mind. I ain't gotta say nothing.
I got grandchildren.
That's why I'm more quiet for a reason. Because nigga, you don't have to say what he really feel, nigga. And y'all getting off YouTube immediately. This whole shit getting took down immediately.
Hey John, remember last night I sent you that Cersei video. I mean, I sent you that Kulinski video where she was like, I'm gonna break the wheel. I'm feeling that tonight.
When we use like talking about the Starks, all these. I'm here to break. I ain't gonna lie, Sam definitely the Kulinski. She the queen over here, man. Real talk. Don't get it fucked up just because you got 3 brothers over here. You thinking we all ADOS, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know how y'all structure. I don't know how your society work, but in our society, when we come up, like women, we live in a somewhat matriarchal society based due to slavery and shit like that.
Ooh, you giving them history lessons, John.
So strong women ain't new to us. To me, a strong ADOS woman, that shit is natural to me. You know what I'm saying? Like real shit, that's normal to us. This our peoples.
And nothing like having a good woman right next to you, or some to help get people off your back if need be. You know,
ain't nothing like
that. You need an extra person swinging. But let's get this going.
Why you think niggas in the hood call their mama before they call their own homie? Why you think they call your mama? You know mama coming. Your homie might not come, nigga. I might not come. I'm gonna stay asleep. Like damn, what happened? He got hit in his ankle. I'm going to bed. I don't know. I'm calling my mama though. She get real, mama. Mom, I'm 31 years old, calling my mama. So that's what I'm saying. So sis, she the Khaleesi, motherfucking MG, the motherfucking mastermind, mother intellectual, and nigga, I don't know what I am, but I'm wild.
We should call MG like Gandalf the Gray.
He Gandalf the White.
Maybe MG
Gandalf the White.
Yeah, he could be Gandalf the White.
But he not white though. He black. No, get off the black now. Real shit. No. We can call him the white. Get off the black. Real shit.
I did see somebody who is Gandalf the Black, which I don't mind that. That works. We'll nickname Gandalf the Black.
That's right. We breaking everything now. The black is the good, not the white. And then see that we breaking everything. We started.
That's a whole different thing we'll have to talk about, because black is everything, because it's devoid of color. Like when you think of everything that's vast, like the space is black. Like Let's keep going.
Okay.
People be like, what is she
Happy
talking
Friday.
about?
For sure.
Hey, we
Now we
have
go-
an amazing show for everybody today. What do we have, Krystal?
Yes.
I know that everybody here knows rules, so we see this new one doesn't particularly surprise us, but spells bad news for Joe Biden. This is about the Latino vote generally. So currently, only 49% of Latino voters say they are ready to support Joe Biden. 10% are undecided or lean towards Biden. 17% towards Donald Trump. 6% say that they are leaning towards Trump. 18%, a full 18%, say they are completely undecided. And
Wow.
I mean, of course, we have to highlight this, Krystal, because this is one of the areas where Bernie Sanders, as we covered on the show so many times with Chuck Rocha and others, is he had a significant hold amongst the Latino community within the Democratic Party in particular. And especially given what we talked about yesterday in terms of the Trump support amongst non-white voters, this is just another it's a strange way to invert the way the demographics work within the electorate, and all of it doesn't look particularly good in this case for Biden.
Yeah, and I think that dynamic, Bernie's support among Latinos has been sort of consistently erased. There's been a lot of talk about will his young voters come along, but very little discussion of whether his Latino support, which was overwhelming, especially depending on the region, whether they were going to come along to Joe Biden and whether that might be an enthusiasm issue in the fall as well. And what's important about these two groups, young voters and Latino voters, are some of the least likely to turn.
All right, let's discuss the polling they just revealed. All right, let's really quickly a little understanding of history here. All right, well of of this demographic issue. Right, so in the United States, black people are the largest group beyond after white people. Right, so tech, which is true. Right, African
Go
American.
deeper with that, MG. Go deeper, because you got to explain race and ethnicity when you say that, because people are like Latinos.
Yeah.
The
exactly.
largest, we are the largest ethnic group next to
European Americans, right? Right. We're the largest group because we are this now. You have to understand that American Descendants of Slavery and other black people. There are black people from the Caribbean. There are black people from Europe. There are black people from the continent of Africa, right? But we are 85% of that group of all black people in the United States. So now we're going to revert. Now this is based on race and national origin, right? That means that you have a shared fate and a shared history. Okay, that makes us the largest bloc in the country. So let's go back. Latinos, like the Latino demographic, Hispanic demographic, however you want to state it, is completely fabricated. I know this is going to upset some people, but it's completely fabricated out of whole cloth. Mexicans and Bolivians have very little in common. All right. Um, Peruvians and Brazilians don't even share the same language. Right. So we have to understand that this and never mind Cubans. Don't even bring Cubans into the issue.
call a
Right?
Cuban a Mexican and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. For me,
Nothing
when I
else.
spent my time in the military, if you called a Mexican dude Puerto Rican or vice versa, you got a
You
problem.
fighting.
You got a
Serious
problem,
problem.
right? The first time they may just correct you and say, okay, cool. Next thing you know, you rolling around in the fucking dirt. All right. So we have to be honest about how these groups work. As far as groups who are not aggressively against one another, the entire black community here in the United States, we're not aggressively against one another like that in general. But when you talk about the Latino community, we're talking about a whole bunch of different groups. And we have to be honest about that. And politicians should be honest about that in their polling, right? If you're trying to create a block that acts like black people do, a group that votes cohesively as cohesively as us, and you just got to throw a bunch of people together who speak different dialects, different languages in many cases, into the same pot just because they speak a derivative of Spanish or their national language is a derivative of Spanish. It's not a coalition. It's just a group of folks from different places who happen to speak a version of Spanish in some cases. All right. So that you have to have an understanding of that. Okay. With that said, All right. So with that said, I'm going to move on to John. See what you have anything to say about this last video, John? This section of the video.
Yeah, man. What you said, I mean, what you said was really, is really profound. I mean, I think when I I'm looking at the video, I'm watching the video, and I see Crystal Ball, and you got Brown Dude, and he basically trying to uppay Bernie's Latino support. So it's bringing me back to the election where it's making me it's reminding me like, oh, remember that's what he did. He thought that he can go around black people and get Latinos because he thought that, like MG, like you said, he thought that Latinos was the strong voting bloc that ADOS people is. And he figured out they not, you know what I'm saying? Like real shit. So they got a reality call, because the whole thing was like, you know what, he had DACA, you feel me? Like real shit. He was big on immigration, man.
Yep.
He didn't say shit about no reparations, but his campaign staff made a conscious decision to be like, you know what? We might not get the niggas, but Latinos is like niggas, right? You know what I mean? Like Latinos is like the blacks. I'm not, I'm just talking how the fuck I talk,
Yeah.
right?
They're
But I mean,
people of color.
But yeah,
They're
they people of color.
brown.
So they whole dynamic is like the same. So we can just feel me like say we gonna get everybody citizenship that come here or just focus on the immigrant issues, which is them really zeroing in on the Latino vote, we can get them. Then he went to Florida and realized that Cubans is not Mexicans. And Cubans is not Puerto Ricans. Because Puerto Ricans are citizens.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, so you know what I mean?
Thank you.
And Puerto Ricans
Preach
is not
one more time about
Dominicans.
Puerto Ricans being citizens.
Puerto
Again,
Ricans
Puerto
are
Ricans are
citizens.
already Americans.
Yo, let me tell you some real. I'm gonna tell y'all
Preach.
some
You ain't
real
lying.
shit,
Forget
man.
that.
I'm gonna tell you some real shit, man. Like real shit. I was working at the community health center in Newark. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm working in Newark. You know what I mean? I work with this Puerto Rican girl. That's my sister too. I got a lot of love for her and everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, remember one time it was a Spanish dude. He was from like Central America, and it was some type of dispute like that. He wanted to get some type of medicine. He was mad at us for some reason. And like, we was trying to work with him. And then in Spanish, he said something to her in Spanish. He like, what? And then we're like, what? He was wilding. I'm like, you gotta get out of here. But at the end of the day, when he said to her in Spanish, like, what? You think I'm some wetback? And she's speaking Spanish to him. Feel me? Like, so they obviously knew they was different people. Like,
absolutely.
He's like, you think I'm a wetback? You think I'm so you saying that you seeing the difference between a country. I think when it comes to black people, like I've seen it up close that Latinos know they're different. They have different interests. They have different cultures, different countries, different circumstances. So when it comes to the United States, like Sam said, and like MG said, and I know Mud gonna kill it, they bring a different suitcase to the United States. And now you think just because they not white, you know what I'm saying, quote unquote not white, that you could just bring all these voters together when they ain't got that shared pain and that shared history that ADOS got. So Bernie, that's why you lost. See that? You feel me? Like real shit, you thought you was gonna circle us to get the Latinos, but you ain't realize like Latinos, they move like white people do. You know what I'm saying? They vote, you feel me? Like they not looked at in society as ADOS people when they come here. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I got to say about that.
That's a good point. Let me get in a quick story before we move to Mud. When I was in the Army, man, there was two cats, man. I'm not gonna say their names. One was Mexican, one was Puerto Rican, right? They hung out together all the time. But what they always called when they were around other people, they would speak Spanish to one another. And when they would hit a crossroad where the languages didn't meet, right? Because there are just different dialects, right? Where those languages didn't meet, one of them would say, without fail, "Speak English, motherfucker." It was hilarious. And then when they talk to each other, they call each other Mexican and Puerto Rican. So come on, Mexican, yep. I'm coming, Puerto Rican. They know they're different. They know they're different. Everybody knows they're different. But putting them together in a group was a way to counter us as a group. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's square pegs and round holes. It does not work. All right. So we have to keep that in mind. And all you political science majors out there and all you campaign managers, potential campaign managers out there, you have to understand this. It is extremely important to whatever you are doing. All right. Mud, come on, man. Sorry about that.
Well, John pretty much got to the main point that I wanted to get to was like they're trying to make these motherfuckers mimic, the Black voting bloc, and they don't really have an issue to unify them. They think it's going to be immigration, but it's not necessarily working out like they think it's going to work out, because that's the shit they've been pushing. And I mean, motherfuckers are breaking to the right. Like that's, because like if you really think about it, you got to think about the Cubans. They've always been scared about socialism. You got to think about the fact that, Spanish people are really religious. Like they are really going to go to wherever they think the evangelical Christian way is to go. So like you're
Well, the
going to
Catholics,
lose that
some of
crowd.
them are strong Catholics, absolutely. Wherever the Pope
Yeah.
says go, that's where they going. Yep.
Yeah, and you got leftists who don't respect religion. Like they don't
Yep.
respect it at all.
And a lot of them are Catholic and against abortion as well. It's those social issues that you lose them and you're not offering anything economically. So
Yep.
Exactly. And immigration is not going to feed somebody that's already here. That's not going to be the thing that's going to win them over if they're already here.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, it was. I mean, and ultimately, it seems like it was racist. This decision to make this Latino group was racist, right? Y'all all the same. Like they try to treat us.
Well, that's the same thing they did with white people. It's
like
all strategic. Remember before? Yeah, it's all strategic.
Absolutely.
Same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like a microwave coalition, right? And you expect everybody to act cool, but this is not the age of people falling into place. It's like creating. Okay, everybody. We're gonna build a coalition. Everybody who speaks English. That's everybody, motherfucker. You ain't built shit. You ain't built nothing. You know what I mean? You let about 5% of the country out. So a couple of
We're gonna build a coalition with everybody who likes dogs, and we're just gonna build it on that.
Yeah.
So you don't have to. You don't have to have. So you can be Jeff Bezos and love dogs, and you can be the dude that's on the side of the road, who
has a dog,
with his plastic cup, with a cup asking for change, and love dogs, and y'all are literally in the same coalition because y'all all love dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's silly. It's silly. All right, Mud. I'm sorry, Mud. Is that it for you? Uh-oh. Can you hear me, Mud? Mud, we lost Mud. All right, Sam, go ahead. Mud,
Yeah, that was it.
Oh, that was it? Okay.
Go ahead and let Sam go.
All right, Sam, let's ride,
Yeah.
man.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So when I hear them say, hey, there's a new poll that came out that shows us the same exact shit that it showed us in 2016 when Latinos did that shit the last time. And this poll was off because they voted in higher rates. Listen, when we saw this, and we've been laughing at y'all behind y'all back this entire time. And now, mind you, I live in Watts and I live in Los Angeles, so I am ground zero for this. A lot of people don't live around other groups. I live in a Black and Latino community. Me and my neighbors, we rock, we family. If y'all come to the neighborhood, my neighbors next to, we gonna handle it. You ain't gotta worry about it. We have a Black and Brown coalition and family amongst our 4 houses. You come into our 4 houses and you're gonna get that work.
Fact.
But that does not translate into a Black and Brown coalition for the entire community. I live in Los Angeles. I don't see a lot of people on a mass scale doing any type of Black and Brown work. And I think part of the problem is, and even with I don't want to get too far into this, but even with this, right? So I'm gonna go a different way with this because y'all all had different kind of opinions. So I'm gonna go for it from this, right? So when they talk about Latinos, you already addressed the fact that, they can be conservative and that they're religious. So sometimes that pushes their sway, right? So let's talk about this. If I am a Latino American, right? I'm a Latino American. Let's just say I'm 2nd or 3rd generation, or let's say I'm 1st generation. What did the Democratic Party offer me? DACA doesn't fall under me because I'm already a citizen. I can't take advantage of the DACA programs because I don't fall under that. So what did you offer me? Like going forward outside again, free college, free healthcare. Free college is nice, but Blacks and Latinos still have less wealth than white high school dropouts with college degrees. So you giving me a degree is like you giving me a piece of paper and telling me to eat it. And that's going to be like, you know, if you get hungry, you can eat this degree. Like that is not taking me anywhere. So the things that you were offering these other communities, you didn't offer them anything that got down to their like pockets. I think it's insulting that you just, I feel like immigration is for Latinos, mass incarceration is for Blacks, right? They boil all their issues down to immigration, whether they are immigrants or not. And I'm not saying that some of them don't come from mixed families and this doesn't affect, you know, how they feel, but some of them come from mixed families and they still not with that shit. Like, they're not. Like, that group of people is such a mix of people, right? Like how you were talking about, you have the Afro-Latinos. So you could put 6 Latinos in one room. You could have you could have a white one, you could have an indigenous one, you could have a white man, a white woman, indigenous woman, a Black woman, a mestizo, which is a mix of both. You could have anything, and all of them be from different countries, have different experiences, be different classes. So how can you just throw these people into one bunch, one group, as if just because they speak Spanish and they happen to be a brown hue, that they just automatically have all the same issues? This is the problem with the Democratic Party and with the leftists. This shit is racist. Like, when you really think about it and break it down, right? So we say that you're not supposed to judge people, you know, like you're not supposed to judge by its cover. You shouldn't. So why is it that you just look at one group of people instead of going to them and saying, hey, Latinos? And not just because y'all got 2 sets of Latinos. So hey, first generation Latinos, and hey, undocumented. Like, y'all got 2 different conversations going. So let's start with the citizens, because you have to forgive me, but that's kind of where my focus is. Y'all can take it or not. But my neighbors next to me, they came here, they immigrated the right way. They have children who are American citizens, who are born as American citizens. They have grandchildren who are born as American citizens. And I would like for them to not grow up in the Hunger Games. I don't want to offer up my neighbor's children for tribute. So we have to fix this shit. But DACA doesn't help my neighbor's grandchildren. And I'm not saying that, I'm not going one way or the other with DACA. I'm just saying, like, that's not putting money in these other groups' pockets. So again, it's just all a big game. You're sitting here like, oh, we're going to do DACA and we're going to legalize 11 million undocumented immigrants. Well, we already know the Republicans aren't going to let you do that. And a lot of these people of color groups will fight you on this. So Irony already said this on their show, I think it was last week. If you guys want to start having real conversations about coalitions, then we need to start having real conversations about coalitions. But just because you brown and speak Spanish and y'all come from all over the world, like, that does not make a coalition. Just because me and Oprah are Black, that does not make a coalition. Oprah is rich, I am poor. Cut that class off. We gotta, sorry, I'm on some class warfare shit, so y'all gotta forgive me. But that's what it is. Like, we have to start, if we're going to do this going forward, we have to have conversations and actually sit down and have conversations about terms. Irony says this all the time. I am all for integration, but I'm not for it on my knees. So we as Black people will no longer be doing this on our knees. So when we come to the table, we know what we want. We know what we want and we know what we are demanding. If you come to the table and you don't know what you want, then that's on you, but you're not going to take away our fight. So if you come to the table and tell us what it is, and we'll let you know if we want to fight with you or not, or you keep it pushing. But all of this fake coalition shit, this shit is a wrap. This shit will never work again. Be glad that Black people voted for Biden this time around, because Donald Trump was our way of seeing what blatant in-your-face racism is. Joe Biden is about to teach white people about structural racism, because that man that he put, I'm sorry guys, and I know this kind of goes off, but I know we all dealing with the election. But
no, go ahead.
With the man that he just brought into his cabinet that helped him craft the language for the crime bill, do you think that they only locking up Black people this time? Y'all are protesting in the street in bigger numbers than us. They're coming for you and your families. So again, what are we going to do? What are we going to do as a people? And I mean all people. What are we going to do as people? ADOS is fighting for reparations. What are the rest of y'all going to do? Because y'all need to be fighting for the table, which is wealth redistribution. But again, like I said, sorry, I know I went a little far off in the weeds with the Latino talk, but like I said, as a person who has friends who are Latino, I spent the whole time asking them what the Democrats were offering them. And as legal Latino Americans, they kept telling me nothing. So this was not news to me. I already knew what it was because they never addressed those people who were already citizens who need help. So I'm sorry, that was a little long, guys, but thank you. Okay, boom.
Turn out. So you have to have a candidate that actually inspires them to get out to the polls. And right now, Joe Biden is lagging on that indicator. I mean, look, put those numbers up. Donald Trump is not doing well with Latinos in that poll either. Right. Let's put back up the Latino decisions one. You can see Donald Trump below where he was in 2016 in terms of Latino support. But a lot of soft support, a lot of people still undecided. So there's a lot of room to make up. And 49% is not nearly where Joe Biden needs to be. Let's go ahead and move on to that Economist YouGov poll that was up on the screen a moment before. We looked at this earlier this week as well, because this shows similarly among Hispanic voters, Biden only getting 49% and Trump doing quite.
Again, I'm saying we can't hear you.
I said, sorry, I'm enjoying this so much. Whites went for more than 50%. Blacks on Trump got up to like, what, the men got up to 18. The Hispanics was like way over in the 40s. The Asians was in the 40s. Like, I'm sorry. I enjoyed every minute because this show, that's why I was like, lying. All these people lied in the polls. They lied to the pollsters because they didn't want you in their business. And they went in the booth and did what they was gonna do, which is vote like how they would vote if they was in their own country. Again, a lot of people are anti-Black. And I'm not saying that everybody that voted for Trump was anti-Black. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying
that's
a
reduction. That's a crazy reduction. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm not doing that because, like I said, I've met people who I don't find them racist. I just feel like they got fucked over and they feel how they feel. And I'm not going to tell them to feel any different. That's like somebody to tell me not to hate Joe Biden after my uncle spent his whole life in and out of prison for being a violent drug offender. So like, you're not going to change my mind.
Absolutely.
But sorry, we're going to go back and play. I'm sorry. I was just laughing.
No, we good.
So,
we good.
So polls are bullshit.
Yeah, hold on. Go ahead, Mud.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, you notice how they say race breakdown? Like, Hispanic isn't a race. Like, why do they keep it?
Exactly.
And do you have anything? And even deeper than that, when I did the census, Hispanics do not like to identify by race. They identify by country of origin.
Yep, and that goes back to what I was saying about.
Go ahead, Mud. No, let Mud go because Mud.
Go ahead, Mud.
That's what they do. They identify as the white race.
Yeah. And that goes back to what I was saying about race and national origin is the key. Race and natural origin is the key. That's why we vote as a block, more or less, right? This cycle.
I'm in history.
Yeah, we have throughout our history, our voting history, we are voting as a block, right? More so than every other group because we have a shared fate, race and nationality, right? That's the key. Now, if you treat everybody else like that and treat each one of these groups as they should be treated, and that's one of the big things that we're going to start pushing is that every group has a specific need, right? And we're gonna, but trying to put everybody together in a block and say, okay, we're gonna help all these people because they're in a block, but some people don't need to be in that block, right? So if you treat people by according to their race and national origin, not to say that that's going to be a 100% win either, but you're going to get closer to what these people need and want, because you want everybody to get what they want. It's not only about us for reparations. There are other groups that need things, right? There are other groups that have needs, and the Native Americans do this well. Even though they kicked us out of those tribes. But anyway, Native Americans do this well. Each tribe has their particular needs. Each tribe in each region has their particular needs. And they act independently on that. And they come together when necessary.
True.
Right?
Absolutely.
True.
So we're not going to go into the Dawes Rose $5 Indian
Yeah,
thing.
no,
At least
I didn't
I'm
even
not.
want to go
Yeah,
that far with that because
yeah, yeah,
there's a lot of, their top does steal from their lower too.
yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
so that's why I was kind of like, I cringe a little
Yeah,
bit
That's
when we
another
start talking about
episode.
Native
That's a
yeah.
Native
whole
Americans
episode.
because
That's 3
That's
episodes right there.
but we can
yeah,
do that for another show. We say that for another show
yeah,
because that would be an interesting conversation. All right.
yeah, for sure.
So
And
let's.
before you go,
Mhm.
are you still going MG? Because I wanted to throw in
No,
piggyback on something you
I
said.
was gonna pass it to John, but go ahead, Sam.
So when you were talking about how we vote as a block as Black people, right? So
Mhm.
that actually goes back to when we first got out of slavery, right? So
Mhm.
contrary to popular belief, we actually did get enfranchised pretty early on. We were allowed to
Mhm.
vote. They just would murder us and kill
Into the
off people to
process,
keep
yeah.
us from doing it. So they just did more intimidation, but we were allowed to vote. And before women had suffrage, Black men, Black women, and Black children would meet in churches and they would all discuss who they were going to vote on as a block. So even though men were the only ones who were enfranchised,
Mhm.
the voting was done by
As a community.
by community, and it was done democratically.
That's
So
awesome.
that's
did
why I
not
don't
know
have a
that.
lot of patience for when y'all be coming for my men and be talking about the patriarchy. Like, we have always been a team. We didn't stop being a team until y'all busted up our families, when you started bringing all these drugs into our community. And then now you're on some like trying to divide us every time you turn around. Well, what about Black women? I don't know when Black women stop being Black. When somebody says we're going to do something for Black people, I don't think, what about Black women? Because I'm Black. Black
Don't
is
even blink.
first.
Mhm.
And when they say that, let me tell you how cold I am. My brothers and sisters are biracial. I include them too, depending on what it is, because they're still ADOS. So they're not even separate. Like, you understand what I'm saying? So like, I don't separate you. I don't separate trans people. I don't separate gay people. I consider you my brothers and sisters. We are Black first. We all go through struggles. And like I said, a lot of us have harmed our brothers and sisters, and I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for everybody who has come at you incorrect or disrespectful. And I understand your anger and frustration with us. But hell, Black people picked up on me mercilessly when I was a child. I don't get to hate my people either. So you have to love us through our flaws. I'm not saying you have to go back and be friends with those people, but you got to come home, because we are here fighting for you and you are us. I don't see you as different. Absolutely. You are not different to me. You are my family. And don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that you don't have things that have to be addressed. And I'm not saying we are the same, but I'm saying that we are family. And no matter what is going on with family, we gonna stick together. We gonna fight everybody else. And if we got to sit down and have some therapy afterwards to fix the shit that we fucked up between each other, that's fine. But we got to come back together.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sam. All right, John. Bring it home, baby.
Yeah, again, said Kulinski just flaming shit. Then you want me to come as Tyrion? No, I ain't even Tyrion. I ain't Tyrion. I'm the mountain, nigga. I'm the mountain. I don't know what the fuck. I ain't Tyrion. I ain't that clever, man. I ain't that clever. I just, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, as far as like, they pulling the polls up. I think that when, like Mud was saying, and like Sam was saying and shit, and like you were saying too, MG, like how all y'all was saying, they pulling the polls up. You see white, Black, Hispanic, you know what I mean? Asian, and I feel like, you know what? Like, what does those same polls look like in their native countries? Like when they pull up race, you know what I mean? Like real shit. Like how does this voting demographic vote in Bolivia? And let's break it down by race. That should have looked weird. This a quadroodron. This a native Bolivian dude that been living in the mountains for 8 years. This a conquistador. This a Black Latino. You feel me? Like real shit. Their whole society is different now. So when you come here and just throw them in the group like that, you know what I mean? Like these are different people from different countries, but they all know that the Democratic Party is they actively trying to get their vote because they know, to be honest, low key. I think they know eventually they trying to assimilate these people before fixing us. And I got nothing against Latinos. You know what I'm saying? Like I go to the bodega, I talk to Poppy every day. That's my boy. That's my dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah, we talking about political reality.
When I do talk to him, when I do talk to him, we'll talk about some real shit like, yo, Poppy, matter of fact, let's own the real shit. Like, let me get a job in the store. He was like, hell no. Real shit. Like, he talking to me every day about shit, call me nigga. All right, nigga, like real shit. Then I'm like, yo, can I get a job in the store? Or you have a store? You're gonna be like, no. I'm gonna call.
No.
I'm gonna call my first. I'm gonna call my brother, then my sister, then my auntie,
Cousin.
then my cousin, then my third cousin, then my third cousin. Then I'm
Get
gonna
my
call
baby
another
out the
Dominican.
crib.
Then I'm gonna call another Spanish dude. Then I'm gonna
Oh
call another
no,
Spanish dude I don't even like.
you so
Then
hilarious.
I'm gonna call a white dude. Then I might call you. I'm like, nigga, but nigga, we done fed your whole family.
You
Like,
so
you know what I'm
funny.
saying? Like, the whole neighborhood black, my nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
So
and
John,
I
I
never
blame
was
you
mad
on
at
that
him
one.
because I never was mad at him about that. I never was mad at him about that because I understood the political reality. I understood that looking out for your self-interest as a minority group or as any group in America, that's just American. You know what I mean? Like Rose said, the Irish, Italian, the Polish, all the white people, even to this day, they all come together on some white shit. When you talk to a real shit like, yo, bro, you Italian? I'm Irish. A straight up white dude that been here for 300 years. Like, I'm Irish. My name is McCullen. I'm like, all right, niggas, calm the fuck down. They own. It's a slave on the ass spot. No, it came on the potatoes.
That's
I'm like,
so
no.
funny.
What about what about his granddaddy? I don't know. All right, they put he owned slave on 80 slaves. Oh, that wasn't me though. So at the end of the day, I think that like when they broke that chart down, it's like white for me, white, black, Hispanic. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, and then real shit. And I also think they should break the black chart down. Yeah, you know, we can get a whole nother show about that. That got to be talked about. The Saager reading data. My bad.
Nah, they need to break the white. They need to break the white down too.
Disaggregate all data.
Word up. Break the white down.
Disaggregate all
Word
data.
up.
We need to
Break the white
disaggregate
down.
all
I think
the
the white
data.
should be the white. If anybody is breaking down by class, it should be white people.
Yep.
If anybody is broken down by class, it should be white people. Because
you know what? I don't mind that. I don't mind. I get where you're going with that. I get where you're going with that. But you're saying something that if you said it without clearing it up, because you're basically saying that we should dismantle whiteness and turn it into, because everybody keeps talking about how they want to do class, but you can't do class if you still have race. And again, before 1681, white did not exist. It is a legal category. Before then, you were Irish, you were Italian, you were Protestant. It was a whole different ball of wax. The whole reason why they created race was to split us up after we, poor whites, poor and black slaves, got together and took the fight to the oligarchy for a whole year. We almost took every fucking thing. And after that, well, yeah, almost, you know, it was a year though. They fought for a year. You got shit in a year. And it was probably one of those things where they probably had people selling them out. They should have hated that shit. But that's why they were successful. And don't at me, y'all, because I don't know enough history about Haiti, so don't start yelling at me. Because I only know a little bit about a little bit. But I know that y'all did some things to get done what y'all needed to get done. So
hey, yo, can I say one thing, sister?
Please,
I just want to say one more thing about this shit. Like when I say
before you say it,
you feel me? Like because everybody, I don't need to pause. I pause. Pause it. Stop it. Pause. All the way pause. But
so
flip it back now. Flip it back.
Right.
But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so at the end of the day, when it comes to the way people, it's because everybody like to talk about, and it felt me like the blacks in the East Coast, the way the Latinos interact with blacks in the East Coast. What up, my nigga? You feel me like the way they, engraves them in like black culture and shit like that. If anybody, y'all let the whole, y'all let everybody down every day. You know what I'm saying? But we wasn't really understanding that because I think that we come from a place that was multicultural. And I'm not gonna lie, the police be beating up a black dude, they beat up a Latino dude too. But I always knew the Latino dude wasn't a black dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm like, a Latino dude walked to me like, what up, nigga? Like, why, nigga, what up? Then I'm like, yo, nigga, give me a job at your dad's store. Nah. I'm unemployed. I spend my food stamp money here every day. Give me a job, nigga. No, you know what I'm saying? Like real shit. Like nigga. Then they might say nigga with the whole R. Like, God damn, nigga, you really not black. You really. I thought you was half black. You really not like you really not from the bottom caste out here. Huh? So that's when I realized, like, oh shit.
Out here, there's a group called Africa Town Coalition, and those groups, those people who set up shop in Lemert Park and didn't hire no black people, they shut them the fuck down. So even though they have stores there, you'll see at least one Black person working in there, because
See,
you ain't
oh,
gonna have
nah.
a store, not a single Black person working there. Yeah, they shut that shit down. So I blame
See,
that on us
California
Black
more
people.
revolutionary
No, I
though,
blame
man.
that on us. I blame that on us Black people though. I
So
have
we're
no
so
problem with
welcoming.
you.
Yeah.
I have no
Let the
problem
ball
with you
down.
opening a store in my community, but you better at least hire at least one Black person from the community, because if not, you're just a vulture. You're in my community, you're taking our money, and you won't even hire our people. The whole point of the whole point of having businesses in the community, right? Those are job creators, right? So if you're in a Black community and you're not creating jobs for Black people, you're just a vulture.
Yeah.
So that's it. That, like, you know,
That's it. That's
that is
all.
what it is. Yeah, that is what it is. And
Yeah.
there's plenty of people of color who do that. At least in LA, there are. Like, I see
What?
there.
Man, listen,
Not,
man.
not
I
no,
ain't
don't
gonna.
get it twisted.
Listen. I don't want to get into those. We ain't get into this right now. We ain't gonna flip it.
I'm not. No. I'm not saying don't get it twisted. I'm not saying everywhere, but I am saying that there are some POs. So listen, when we do this show, I'm going to make my best attempts to be fair, because the things that I have to say, I'm going to be very clear and I'm going to be very to the point. But I also want people to understand that this is like, I can be fair about this shit. I'm not going to pick on any group. So if I do see something like people of color in some spaces who are actually hiring Black people, I'm going to applaud that, because people of color should know that that's applauded and that's what they should be doing. But if I don't bring it up, people don't even think about it. Like, some people don't even think about how problematic it is for you to open a store in a community and not hire anybody from that community. They would never allow that to happen in other communities. So that's all I'm saying. So I know sometimes people, because I know as this podcast goes on, people like, Sam is caping for, I don't listen.
Fuck that. Now. Give us our money. No. Give us our shit. For real. Give us our bread.
Like, you will never, ever, ever in your life not hear me say reparations first. Now, I'm willing to negotiate with everybody else for the bullshit they want, but reparations will never move from my lips. But I am who I am, and I'm not going to pretend to be one kind of way. I'm a free thinker. I read around 60 books a year. This will be the first year that I haven't done that shit since 2012. I think I'm somewhere around 30. Like, I like to think, and I want to express myself how I'm going to express myself. So if I'm going to point out something, I'm going to do it. No, I'm just saying in general, because, you know, sometimes people get offended. But the thing about it is, I am Black first. I'm American Descendant of Slavery first. I'm about my people getting everything that we need first. But I'm not going to set us into a burning house either. So we need reparations, but we got to figure out what we're going to do with these whites and people of color. Because if they are poor and destabilized, we've seen what they do to us every time. Every time we've gotten something and we've done better than them and they haven't had shit, they have come and burnt down our communities. There is not enough military. There's not enough guns to protect us if they decide that they're going to come for that shit. So we got to figure out how we're going to set up things that are going to keep that from happening. So as long as we get reparations first, if you want to fix the society, I'm with it. I don't want to spend my money on having to put my kid in a good private school or having to move into a good area. No, fix my fucking area that I live in, fix the shit that needs to be fixed around me, and give me my damn reparations so I can spend that shit however the fuck I want. So if I want to go somewhere, if I want to go to Africa and build a village, or if I want to fucking go on vacation for the rest of my life, it's none of your goddamn business. Sorry.
Facts. All right, so something. We'll go to Mud in a second. Something to piggyback on what John was saying. Right, a lot of people from other communities that are in other communities, whether it be Puerto Rican, Jamaican, they know they take care of their people first, and that's the right thing. That's the right way to do it, as far as I'm concerned. Right. Like John was saying, if I'm gonna hire somebody, I'm gonna call my cousin and see if somebody needs a job before I go to somebody who's outside my family or my community, right? So it's like, and everybody functions like that. Everybody functions like America is zero sum, which it is. It's the way the country is created, right? So this is the first time that we're talking about us, right? And I had a quick story. I had an interview on the Humanist Report last year with Mike. I forget Mike's last name. Sorry, Mike, if you're listening.
Mike Figueroa.
Thank you.
I know about him.
Yeah, and something he cut out of and I told him it was all right if I cut it out. And we were talking about AOC, and we were talking about her interview with Ta-Nehisi Coates when she was acting about reparations. And I said, Mike, I understand how this works. I understand the Hispanic community, like a lot of other communities. She can't go back home talking about what she's doing for black folks, right? And not doing for her people. It just ain't gonna work. It just ain't gonna work. And that's just how the culture works, right? And it should, and we should be the same way. We're finally doing it that way. As far because that's the way ADOS is functioning, right? We're gonna take care of ourselves first. Yeah, we can help other people. Yeah, we're all for that. We always are for that. But we have to prioritize ourselves because it's almost the end, baby. Before the pandemic, it was 2053. We were gonna go to zero wealth. We're probably at zero wealth now if somebody actually ran the numbers. All right. Something to think about. I'm sorry, Mud. Go ahead, brother. You got something?
Yeah, I was gonna say is that you know, like motherfuckers need to show us some gratitude though. Like we opened this motherfucker up with the shit we
Mm-hmm.
did with the civil rights movement and immigration. We opened this motherfucker up and they have, yes, they have come into our communities and they have taken care of themselves first for decades upon decades upon decades.
Mm-hmm.
And now they've gotten fat and we are at a point where we're starving and we're looking around and saying, okay, like, all right, when are y'all motherfuckers gonna show us a solid? Like, when are y'all gonna do something? Like,
Mm-hmm.
like we've allowed you motherfuckers to come and be a part of our communities and to build your wealth that you couldn't build in your own countries.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Exactly.
Yeah. So, like, at some point, like, I don't need you to give me the job, but I do need you to get behind me politically so that we can fucking push to get our own justice claim answered so that we can have money to open up our own stores.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
You know what?
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to fucking, you know, play these weird power games. We just want to fucking be able to have some American normalcy that other groups have been able to achieve.
Mm. But to your point, Mud, a lot of folks see that as a threat, right? And you see that when we talk to people, especially from immigrant communities. Just to be honest, I'm being real. A lot of people
Yeah.
from immigrant communities, like, and let's be clear, all right? I'm not talking about individuals, right? If you want to see how a people function, see what their institutions do. See what the
Mm.
institutions do, and you will know how that community functions. Not individuals. Not I'm cool with Poppy on the corner. Not calling you out or anything, John. Or I'm cool with Mexican and Puerto Rican. I was in
He
there,
cool, yeah, he cool.
right?
But I know that nigga ain't. I know he ain't with me. I dive from him.
Yeah,
Like I know he know who his
yeah,
family is, and that
yeah.
made me tighten up to know who my family is. I know that. But we
And
cool though,
yeah, and again,
kinda.
people are taking care. They're doing their best to take care of their family and their community. And because America is zero sum, and because America loves to keep us nailed to the bottom, it's easy to overlook this. It's easy to overlook us. And something I covered in that nativism article was that the leaping over us has become a rite of passage for people to come to this country. All right,
Exactly.
it was the same for white for
How they
European
become white
people.
with the Irish. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been that's how immigration has been worked since this country started opening the floodgates. Right? People come here, they're supposed to stand on us with everybody else and keep pushing. Right? Not supposed to look at us, not supposed to help us, not supposed to give us a hand up, not supposed to give us a hand out. Nothing. They're supposed to leave us the fuck alone, leave these Negroes outside, and you can be cool with white supremacy. Right? They may not view it like that. They may view it as just taking care of their community,
Yeah.
but that's the reality. All right. I'm
Hey,
sorry,
yo,
Mud.
hey, MG, before you, I know you're gonna move on to the next point. I just really wanted to say that
Mhm.
what reparations does, what it does, like it doesn't displace these immigrants that came to our communities and opened up businesses and everything like that. They
Mhm.
open up storefronts in buildings that they don't own. I know they rented it out. I know
Mhm.
that's cool. But now what's happened is like, you know what? You know that building you open your storefront out of? We own that building now. You got to
Mhm.
pay us rent now to be here now. And I
Mhm.
don't think that we gonna necessarily run them out or nothing like that. We be like, you know what the white dude was giving? You know what? No, I'll cut. All right, fuck it. Now I mean, you my dog. What the white dude was giving you, I'm gonna give you like 20% discount then. Just pay
Mhm.
me my. You feel me? Like real. So you gotta pay
Pay
me
me
to
my
be
bread.
here though in
Mhm.
my community. Just like if I came to Chinatown First of all, nigga, I can't even come to Chinatown and
You
open up nothing. First of all, let's keep that shit. I don't give a fuck if you speak. I can speak Mandarin fluently. I can't open up shit in no Chinatown in America. They gonna hit me with a white dude's gonna open up some shit in the Chinatown before me. On mothers, on everything. I could really have a Chinese wife, speak Mandarin fluently. Them niggas gonna be like, I'm like, yo, the regular rent for a Chinese person that is an immigrant is $3,000. For me, like, say it's like $1,200. They're like, yo, bro, your rent $1,800, and to get the food that we usually get a Chinese person, like the supplies we give them for $500 a month, that shit $3,000 for you, because we don't know about your credit score. We don't. I ain't gonna lie, they gonna super tax me. They're gonna be like, no, that shit closed. You know what I'm saying? Nobody does this shit. So our whole shit is like, now we own our community now. Now we want to come here, and you can come here because we still, like Sam said, we the most loving and care. You right, you come here, pay me rent now. You feel me? Like, bro, so you paying, you feel me? Nigga with the dreads, I was outside smoking weed, he own the building now. For real. He don't smoke weed, he smoke weed in the mansion. He not in the mansion. He live better now. He got a decent, it might be a mansion. I don't know what niggas going, I thought niggas gonna flip, be smart, we might flip the shit. You already know we will become the Asians. We become the Asians and with more power. I don't even want to get them to let this mad like that, because they know they're gonna be mad. They're gonna be mad because leftists always say that means black people gonna have more money than everybody in the country. I'm like, Asians do. They got more money than you, white dog, and you ain't saying nothing to these niggas. And you what? So, all right, you know what? I ain't gonna get into that.
No. Chinese Asians have more money than them. Japanese Asians have more money than them. Indian Asians have more money than them. It is only a problem when it comes to black people.
They got more money than them. And they got more money, they got more wealth and all types of shit. And they just be like, they model minority. Well, because I'm like, versus see that, because they brain is bigger than my brain. And then all types of all types of wild shit. You'll hear lefty saying some wild shit like that to you. A real lefty, a real tree-hugging lefty would say that wild shit to you. So,
go ahead, Mud.
All right, man. So, my bad. I had to say that before you get to the next segment. I'm sorry, MJ.
And pause, everybody.
Quite well here, relative compared to his past performance, compared to Mitt Romney's past performance and that of other Republicans. At 35%, if he were actually to pull that down on Election Day, that would be a significant improvement for him.
Yeah, it certainly would. And that's the most important thing to remember. And as we covered yesterday, the New York Times' Nate Cohn, he has, this interesting new analysis which shows that Joe Biden is gaining amongst older voters. He's losing younger ones, and that Trump in particular has made gains amongst non-white voters. And these things matter for particular states. So this means that, sure, Biden could win Florida, and then Arizona becomes a mixed bag. There's a lot of older voters who live in Arizona, and there's a lot of Latino voters who live in Arizona at the same time.
Right.
So you have an inversion there in terms of the way that could look. The Biden campaign might instead try to just win Florida and Arizona, or they might try and move the map around and concede a Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and others to the Trump campaign. Now, look, electorally on the map, I'm trying to do the math in my head. I'm not sure quite where that stands, but these are interesting new dynamics. They're not necessarily ones that either the Republicans or the Democrats are prepared for. And at the same time, Fox News has excellent polling division. They released their battleground state polling yesterday, not necessarily the same as the CNBC one that we brought you, which shows Biden 50 in Pennsylvania, Trump 42, Biden 49 in Michigan, Trump 41, Florida 46-43. We should add the caveat there that anytime you are polling registered voters, it's actually generally an undercount, according to the Times' Nate Cohn, over likely voters, that Republicans actually have an edge. But take all the bias out, and like I said, there are some interesting electoral dynamics here, which are kind of a mixed bag for both candidates.
Right, and mostly we're not talking about massive swings in any direction, but as close as 2016 was, and as close as this election is supposed to be, any little shift in support matters. So, of course, we covered how seniors, unimpressed in particular with the president's coronavirus response, seem to be having more affinity for Biden than they had for Hillary last time around. Young voters seem to have softer support for Biden, more interest in voting third party or staying home altogether than they did last time around. And now this is another key piece, and something I've been looking for, frankly, how Latino voters are going to shake out. The other word of caution here is that always you have to take national polls with a grain of salt, because as we all know, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but she is not president of the United States. So those battleground polls ultimately are more important, and especially when you're talking about a broad demographic group like Latinos, right? Is that support for Joe, is that overwhelmingly in California, right? What does it look like in Florida? What does it look like in Arizona? I mean, all of those different dynamics. This is not one monolithic group, and you would not expect the support to stack up in exactly the same way, depending on what state and what region you're in.
Yeah, that's the key point there, right? So, like, if
Hey,
Joe
yo, cut
Biden
it.
racks up more Latino
Stop that.
votes,
Stop that.
Okay, I'm
California
stopping.
loses Texas.
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie. Somebody got to go.
Go ahead, John.
Nah, I mean, nah. I'm just, I'm just saying. Stop it. I want to hear everybody. MG bring it back to the. I just want you to bring it back around the whole panel, man, because I think y'all heard what I think I heard. I think I know what I think I know what I know. I think I heard what I heard.
I think well, I mean, one thing's for sure is that Krystal admitted that the whole Latino thing is a hustle. The whole Latino demographic is a hustle. She admitted it, but she broke it down differently state by state. But I don't think it's a state by state thing. I think it's national origin and race. I think mostly national origin, because there's different. Because people want different things from their home country, right? From and for their home country. So I don't think it's a state by state thing as much as it is what flag you're flying. So I could be wrong as well. But another thing,
it could be that. Yeah, it could be that, like how the Irish originally came here, they all kind of went into their own little enclave that was like. So it may be that, I don't know if this is necessarily the case, but like, how the Cubans kind of got Florida, South Florida, and then, maybe in Arizona, it might be, the Mexicans, and, however, it might be that. It might be the case where it's like showing up differently in different states.
That's fair.
The only thing I wanted to say, though, is like, we probably do need to also have a conversation about what's going to happen when the boomers go. Like how that's going to affect the way Black people vote as a group. Because like the generations after that are a lot different. Like we are a little bit more rebellious. And I don't know if we're necessarily going to be like strictly, riding with the Democrats like we've always been doing.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't see that happening. I agree with you on that one too. Because I think we showed that in this election, right?
Yeah, and I think one thing I noticed is that I remember in 2016 we were often talking about when I was a burner, how all these young people were flipping their grandparents. But it seems to me that this cycle was different, right?
It was the policies.
But I think part of it was CNN, and I saw it in my family, and I saw it around and some other people. CNN and MSNBC had driven people. They had driven parents and grandparents in such a frenzy of fear and anger that anybody, if their kids voted for Trump or down ballot, if they didn't vote for Biden, they caught it. My mother she kept it cool, because we got into a fight about Bernie in 2016. We didn't talk for a while. We talked damn near at least twice a week, right? For a while, it was almost every day, right? But in general, it was CNN and MSNBC had tweaked, especially Black parents, so much, and we know that even though these, you millennials and some of us Gen Xers don't want to hear that shit, right? But for the most part, we listen to our parents, right? We take that input very seriously, especially our mothers. We take that very seriously. And when it comes to fear and trying to protect us, that's mom all day, dad too, but mom, she's passionate about protecting her children. And the way they pushed it, the way CNN and MSC spun it, it was like this was existential for Black people, right?
Mainly Black women too.
Especially Black women, right? So they took this,
and it really wasn't. That's the gag. It really wasn't. I know people gonna be mad at that statement, but
yeah, and they took our matriarchal, like John was talking about earlier, the matriarchal dynamics of our culture, and turned it on us this cycle. They really did, to my mind, right? Anybody want to? I might have gone off on a tangent, but that's what I saw this cycle. Anybody else got anything on that?
No, that's true. Like, I talked to a lot of people from all over the country, and like they went to war with their families. Like it was definitely something else. And I know boomers was really in their feelings, because I remember when I was talking about voting down ballot when Kamala first announced, I had one of my boomers back when I was teaching yoga, like step into my personal space, like she was about to do something. I had to kind of look at her like, you an old lady, man. I don't hit elders. Listen.
Oh, she met the wrong one.
Listen,
Oh,
I don't
Lord.
hit elders,
Oh,
but
no.
I'm not gonna sit here and let you steal one on me in the middle of this park. So I'm gonna stand here like I'm taught to, because I was taught you don't touch nobody till they touch you. But if she hit me, we gonna have a
Hey,
problem.
Sam, what you say to that old lady? Why she want the family?
I told her that Joe Biden was a racist who had been locking up our people forever, and that Kamala Harris was not Black girl magic. Kamala Harris is an Indian Jamaican and an Indian from India who happened to be born in America, whose parents whisked her away by the time she was in middle school to Canada through high school. So where you spend your formative years is who you are. My formative years were in the fucking suburbs. So yes, I have a suburban twist and twang to me. Now I'm a little different because of the other shit in my life that has happened, but that was through Black struggle. Kamala didn't go into Black struggle after high school. She went to a good college, and then after that she got a law degree, and then after that I'm not going to talk about the rest because that's a whole nother thing, and I don't think this is the space for that.
No,
I might have to do that.
We gotta get into that.
When there's no men around.
Let that one go.
I have to do that one alone when there's no men around, because I don't want them to be blamed for being sexist or misogynist. But I got all the smoke for that, because when my daughter grows up, which I don't have yet, but when I do have a daughter, I don't want her to grow up like Kamala. Because what's the point of having all those brains and smart if you still have to do the stuff that dumb people have to do to get where you need to be? We can keep going.
Yikes.
I didn't say anything mean. I didn't say anything about anything, right?
Nah, you ain't say nothing.
Yeah, I know you ain't say nothing, and I didn't. I'm not inferring shit.
And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about.
Some people do. I don't know what you're talking about, Mud. What you
got?
Oh,
I had no idea.
I don't know what's going on.
Should we get back to the video? Should we get back to the video?
Yes, let's get back to the video.
7 points and wins California by 15 points instead of by 9.
Right.
It doesn't really matter, right? Because in terms of the electoral math, whereas if the Latino vote and then at the same time loses Latino voters in say Florida, where Republicans have actually always had a significant base amongst the Cuban community, but now with the Puerto Rican community voting a lot for Rick Scott, Marco Rubio, and the Venezuelans. I mean, there's just a lot of interesting dynamics here at play that get lumped into that thing. So you're right, which is the battleground state polls are the ones that matter the most. And we can look here, though, at the shaping up. We can look at both the weaknesses for both candidates. So with Trump, I think if he doesn't turn the senior.
All right. This has been Reset Race, another show where we talked about race and ethnicity and all kinds of good stuff. This show was a little more informational than anything else, and we like to do that because we want people to have a broad understanding of how all these things work, and we have to be more honest about how we build coalitions. Coalitions start with agreements, right? Not just hey, everybody's in the coalition because whatever, just make some shit up. Right, everybody with blue eyes is in the coalition. I guess more or less they are. But anyway,
everybody whose name goes with the letter R is in a coalition. Like I said, everybody who loves dogs is in a coalition now.
It's now a
coalition. Everybody loves cats in the coalition too.
And y'all got to vote as a block.
Yeah, got to vote with a block. See, it is what it is. So we have to understand that these microwave coalitions are never going to work. You have to build an agenda, get people on board, vote on that agenda. Well, no, sometimes you can vote in, sometimes you can't. But we get people on board, and then we get the right. And everybody needs to understand where they fit into this, right? And they have to have discussions. You just have to. It's not just do as I say, and if you don't, I'm gonna yell at you on Twitter. but we don't go any further than that. Okay. So that's it for tonight. And hopefully we see you next Saturday. And thanks for listening. And please subscribe to us
Actify Press.
on YouTube, on Actify Press YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go to then after that, go to Bitter Dose TV, all one word, Bitter Dose TV.
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe there, and then go to what's the Sam?
It's We Will Not Suffer in Silence.
We Will Not Suffer Silence. Subscribe there. Then get on the newsletter for ActifyPress.com.
Right.
Then get on John's Twitter, tell him he got a big head, and then it'll be everybody.
Now say, "Are you my daddy?"
Don't talk real, real shit. Yeah, real talk. Like I'm not your daddy. I don't. If you a young child with an equal head that look like me, that got brown skin, to I'm dead. I don't. No, I'm not your daddy. Leave me alone. All I do is advocate. I go to work. I'm just a regular nigga. I don't do nothing. Leave me alone.
All right, family. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you guys had fun, because we believe in having fun here. We're not going to be super serious on you, right? So we will have some fun at other people's expenses. Just how we get down. That's part of being black. And we are a roasting culture. It is what it is. So that's it.
Oh,
And we'll
cool.
see y'all